Hey, hey, hey. So I'm trying something new today. I normally do my Monday thoughts um on Facebook. So I'm bringing it to Instagram Live, and I have some real special guests today, okay? These two people I love. They are up and coming thought leaders, as you can say. The way their mind thinks is just like mine, you know. We have so many great conversations, you know. So I'm real anxious to introduce you guys to them. Actually, one just popped on now. So we gonna get started, and hopefully everything's going good. So let me figure out. Um, you got a request? Did I accept it?
Yo,
Peace, peace.
peace.
Uh, Germany can come on live too, right? While
Yeah,
we're
you
on.
gotta you gotta request you gotta send a request or accept her request.
Okay, I just requested Germany. Go ahead and request to tap in. But go ahead and introduce yourself. I said that you're the upcoming thought leader of this
Oh
new
yeah,
generation.
my name is John. Green. You can follow me on Instagram, GreenMind47. Couple of things I'm interested in when it comes down to spirituality. Just the interest of learning about who we truly are. Without this physical appearance that we actually have, I feel like some things in life that's a distraction for us. So one thing that I
Mhm.
decided to do in my life to take serious is who is underneath, and also I decided to actually encourage other people to do the same. And also when it comes down to finances, just a couple of things that I'm interested in. I'll go ahead and let Jeremy go ahead and introduce her stuff as well.
Peace, gods. How y'all feeling today?
Peace to the guys.
Feeling good.
Peace to the gods. Before I start any introduction of myself, I can't introduce myself without the ancestors that came before me that's given me the rights to this passage of speech. So I want to say Ashe to Magnolia McFarland. I want to say Ashe to all of the guys that came before me that is deceased now, that has given all of their information to me and the downloads for me to be exactly who I am, sitting here in the presence of Jhermani Green. That's who my ego is. But uh, my name is Jhermani Green. I am a holistic healer. I'm a healer if it's on his in my own rights. And right now, with me being a young adult and me following within those footsteps, I am a thought leader. I am a stylist. I am the next generation of what Odell and Magnolia came to be, right? So within that, I'm doing something so different. I'm understanding the whole totality of my body, from the root
Mhm.
chakra to my crown chakra, to how I eat, how I meditate, how I exercise, right? So that's in essence, and also understanding not just those part, right? Those things are the spiritual parts. I'm also understanding this physical realm as well about financial healing. It's also is letting your soul be free. So right now, I feel like I am a thought leader in my time. I'm right now just in the works of that and building my brand up. But essentially, I don't like to bring up the ego side of me. But yeah, I'm Germany. I've done a few things in my life. I've graduated and all of that. But none of that matters. The only thing that matters is my soul and the brand that I'm creating. So yeah, peace, y'all. Peace to
Facts.
God.
Peace. So that's what's up. What's up? I'm glad that I was able to introduce y'all. Y'all was able to introduce yourself. And there is a couple things that I wanted to talk on. But y'all being family, I'm gonna start with this part here. Growing up, we grew up in a very, very Christian lifestyle. From going to church on Sundays, Fridays, Wednesdays, choir. Now, y'all two experienced it way longer than me because I moved around so much. But for us to go full circle and still end up with the same mentality and mindset, that means that the shift was meant to happen. That we were meant to bring the change upon our family, upon our friends, just totally busting open the gates that we thought was the way to live. So I will always spend my life scared as hell that I was gonna go to hell. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was freaking terrified, okay, that I was gonna go to hell. When I got my first tattoo, I was like, oh, that's it. I'm going into the pits of the fire. I know. Then sex, oh yeah, it's over with. I'm definitely not getting into heaven now. And I want to speak on that stigma, right? Because it is a lot of things I learned. Being in that lifestyle helped me to understand right from wrong, but not even right from wrong, but what I feel is good for me and what's not. Because it's not really a such thing as a right from wrong. It's just something that's fucked up and that's not. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So, I want to know, how was the journey? How was the transition from what you grew up to believe to what you believe now? Let's start with you, Jay.
I would say when it comes down to, because what you're speaking upon, it's like what we got introduced when it came down to
Yeah, we cutting in
spirituality.
deep.
What you say?
I said, yeah, we coming in deep.
Like
when
you
you
went
when
all
you
the way to the deep end. All
right,
right.
you
Oh
started
wow.
you started up
Dang.
going deep. Okay, I like that. So what you just broke down was the our introduction to spirituality, and I see value in that as well. So Jeremy, what Jeremy mentioned, our grandparents, the structure that our grandparents built, that was valuable because for me it was valuable because that was my introduction to spirituality. Now, when you talk about now, I would say religion, and I had we kind of already had a understanding of that world and spirituality as a young person. But I feel like for me, when I actually jumped on a journey, I was aware my whole life. But when I jumped on a journey was in 2020. What happened to me in 2020? I was going through. I feel like I was going through a lot of internal stuff. I actually felt like I was dying, and it's crazy because my introduction to spirituality, I believe everybody's introduction to spirituality is when chaos happens in their lives. And that's one thing that happened to me. It was a lot of chaotic stuff going on within my own being that I felt like I had to fix. So my introduction now to taking out from religion to actually just understanding who I was as a spiritual being, because our spirits is the only thing that's real about us in this life, not any religion, not any ideas that other people give to us. The only real thing is spirituality. So, getting to your question, let me actually get a full understanding. Like, what was the question? I know I'm touching on it a little bit, but I want to get to the point.
So I just was asking basically, what it was like going from how we grew up to getting on this journey that we're on now, as far as the shift in spirituality slash religion change.
So that shift, it was like what you mentioned. It was scary to me because the things that I did understand about spirituality was based upon the ideas that or interpreted from reading the Bible and things of that such. But my journey, I started off deeply reading my Bible in 2021, and a couple of books that actually was very helpful for me was
Mhm.
Ecclesiastics and Proverbs. Those was the two books that I
Mm.
took serious. Like one thing that I heard when it came down to that, learning about your spirit, like you don't need to take everything. You just need to take some things and apply it to your life. So my introduction to that, that's what I did. I took some things and I applied it to my life. Now I didn't take everything because everything I didn't agree with. Everything
Mhm.
didn't connect didn't connect personally with me, but I had to understand that within myself to actually make that transition that even though people did say this was what law was, I had to figure out what my laws was within.
Listen, I'm glad that you say that, Germany. I want to hear your opinion next, but let me just add something to what Jay said. I was real deep on spirituality. And then in 2012, when I had to leave Atlanta and go down to Detroit with my family, I was introduced to my amazing bishop. Her name was Dora Scott. Now, off top, it was already like controversial because a lot of men, a lot of people in that non-denominational Christian black church believe that women can't be pastors, women can't be bishops. And here I am listening to a woman that's a bishop, not just a pastor, but a bishop, right? So I would say she helped to re-spark my journey that I already knew, because after our grandmother passed away, I was in a really dark spot. I was in a really dark place. When Granny died, it just messed me up. You know what I'm saying? And I just felt like all her prayers were the reason why I was still alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I got back to church, I had a holy experience and I was speaking in tongues. Now, let me tell you something. People be faking, okay? People be lying. But what I felt was real. So at that moment, I knew God was real. But then I also had something inside of me like, this not it though. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't it though. So then as time go by, I felt myself drifting away from going to church and doing all those churchly things. And what I found out was that God is very real, but God is very real to a lot of different people. You get
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So God is real to you as who you are as a person. So it wasn't until I started to connect with myself and how I felt that I really started truly connecting to God, because I could never know what's right or what's wrong for me until I know me. If you don't know who you are, then you'll just accept anything and believe in anything and run with anything. Somebody could tell you to worship the ground. You're going to worship the ground because you don't know no better. But when you trust and believe in the God and the God that's inside of you and the God that you are, and you start knowing who you are, you can get lessons and learn things from every single avenue, from the Bible, from the Quran, from Hinduism, from Buddhist. You can learn and take heed to everything because everything is the same.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? God, if God is I'm the present, God will show up in whatever way, shape, or form that you need him to, so that you can find out your path. All right, Sister Jhermani, go ahead and spit your raps to me.
No, that's funny because I feel like y'all done wrapped it up. That's it. But that's exactly what it is, because I went through the same thing. And I think that when I hate to be like what is it? This spiritual awakening thing, but it's real. I don't even like to call it like that, because they put us in like this little box of this spirit, this woke culture. It's not about woke culture though. It's when you go through this moment of presence of being set
Mm-hmm.
aside. That's the depth that you was feeling, John. And it's just funny because I went through the same thing. Now I'm more of a poet. I want to take y'all down the line of my awareness of self, right? Because awareness of self literally take you out of religion, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
religion is group think. Self-awareness is I question all things around me. I
Mm-hmm.
understand what's right and wrong for me. So I went through periods of that. I've always been kind of aware of myself. With me and John being a fire sign, we're always passionate about things and we observe it. Very observant of a lot of things so we can think and speak passionately about it, right? So for me, my spiritual awakening I've always been aware of self. I always felt like I was different, set aside, never fed in, right? But I realized in
Mm-hmm.
my whole life I always tried to fit in. And it's funny, John, because I don't remember you remember I ever told you as a kid, y'all, this my brother, by the way. This my baby brother, but he's also a big brother to me in ways as well. And hopefully I'm the same to him. Like sometimes when I need him to be big brother, he big brother. And when he needs me to be big sister, I'm big sister because I am the eldest. But sometimes we take leadership roles and have somebody has to
Mm-hmm.
hindsight see for you, right? So that's just life, though. But to give you, you remember, John, I used to tell you, I'm like, people could smell a phony from a mile away. I was telling you that, but I was telling myself that as well, right? Growing up, because
Mm-hmm.
you can't tell somebody something that you don't know, right? So I was trying to teach him that early in his childhood, because I'm like, people could smell a phony from a mile away. I always wanted to fit in. I always felt different. People gravitated to me because of my passion, but I didn't believe in myself. And I
Exactly.
believe that was because of religion, because I felt like some of the thoughts that I was having, I wasn't supposed to have. Let's get that out of our head,
Mm-hmm.
because we all have high vibrational. Let's go through this thing that everybody high vibrational moments, and then you go through low vibrational moments. When I'm sitting to myself, I internalize and I hear God in me, right? But when I'm in front of other people, I weaken in my God, because I see the God in you, and I'm like, I want to be a part. I want to be a part. I want to feel put in, because you even got like people
Mm-hmm.
that's clicked up, or people gravitate to them, right? But it's not for the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? It's not for the right reason. And you like, I want to be a part of that too. I could do what she do too. you know, and I will never forget. I was at in dance class or whatever, and I admired this girl so because, and it's funny because now I'm analyzing this at second grade. I understood the God in her life, right? Like she literally, she danced in the highest class. She wasn't gifted. I went to school with her. She wasn't gifted. She was dancing. Boy, you seen the God in her life, and she was a Leo. You seen the God in her life. She came from a 2-parent home. She lived in a big house. I'm not saying that I was jealous, but those literally are determinants of seeing somebody more confident in themselves. I had the confidence, but I couldn't externally be confident about myself. So then when I went to college, I was kind of lost and confused because I'm like, I'm still trying to fit in. I got a little leadership, but then when my line wasn't waking. I didn't really, I was still trying to follow, even though I knew the right answer. I would backtrack in my own thoughts. How you do that? You know what's right, but you trying to fit in and you go against your God. Right? You go against your whole spirituality. So in college, that's from second grade to all the way up to probably 2020, where I will be double-minded in my thoughts. Like I know that I'm confident, but no, I'm gonna go out to the club. You know, I know that I'm confident. I'm gonna overdo this. I'm gonna be over sexual. I'm gonna do this. Just not living in my true self. But even though I knew right, I could even preach right. And that's funny about preaching right, because sometimes we look at leaders, right, and we be like, they supposed to always be right. No, we all got God and we all got the devil in us, and that's the reason why they say even a wise man fall. I was the wise man and not confident in myself, in my own abilities. People like, girl, you be preaching, but I be preaching to myself, and sometimes I wasn't confident, so you slide. Even the wise man fall though. So for me, I believe it was in 2020 when I started feeling set aside. Even the people that I was talking to, I started feeling weird, around them.
It was a shift in 2020 because
Had to be,
in
because I
20
feel like that's when
in
everybody
20
gets
That's
spiritual
when
that's
awakening.
when I was about to say, because that's when I started really going further and digging deeper. Like,
yes.
I already understood my gift of omnipresent, of claircognizance, and just the power of knowing. So I would always, since young, would get downloads, and I would
Facts.
just know shit, and I'll be like, damn, how do I know shit? Or I'll have conversations with people, and I'm head to head with them.
Adults
You know
though,
what
and
I'm
that's
saying?
the crazy thing.
Adults
Adults
though.
having
Like,
conversations with adults.
I've always had friends and people that were 10 years plus, 6 years plus, 20 years plus, because I can hold that conversation
Yep.
well and understand completely. So when I be like, yeah, my comprehension skills are amazing, it's true, and that's not me bragging on myself, it's just facts. And um we not even 30 yet. Oh, by the way, y'all, these is my cousins, my blood cousins. So we all family. We all family. We in different states, but we on the same
But
energy
look at
wave,
this
okay?
though. What's crazy is that, like, it's crazy that you say that though, because like I felt like growing up, I said I felt different. I didn't feel different around my
Mm-hmm.
elders. I felt different around my peers. Because even
Mm-hmm.
I think every last one of us, people are always like, "Dang, you got an old soul." I used to mentor, like John. You remember? It's funny because that family bring it up all the time, like me praying over them old folks, thrashing, thrashing. As a kid, I had that, in me. Like, and older people always gravitate, or but in school, this is what I didn't like, and now I'm appreciating it because everything do come full circle, like you said. In school, they used to be
Mm-hmm.
like, "Baby Jesus, baby Jesus." You like, you a baby Jesus, and I hated that because I'm like, what are y'all calling me? Overly Christian, overly this? But it's kind of like you said, the downloads. I never went through some certain situations that they've been through, but if I took myself out of that, that situation and look at it, I always had some type of good advice, or always being
Mm-hmm.
optimistic about what life. And that was the introduction to the spirit of what you're talking about, what we got from our grandparents. That was the introduction of
Exactly.
spirituality. That's just the intro. That means you was in psych 101, you gotta go to psych 506. Okay, like it don't just stop with the Bible. It furthers. You have to understand the awareness of self, and once you
Yeah.
aware of self. And that's why I said in 2020 the shift was for me is that I literally stopped hanging out with everybody. I literally was off
Mm-hmm.
social media for like a whole year. I'm like, delete everything, because that's not me. Y'all don't know me. I had to just strip everything. I felt so confused, y'all. Like, when I mean confused, I felt like death, but it wasn't like the death that you went through. It was like a death of kind of like an ego per se. I'm like, stop trying to be perfect, yo. Stop trying to be this. Be who you are. If that's loud, boisterous, whatever you got to get off your chest, get it off. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be around people though, because I'm like, I don't want to be phony. I don't want
I
to be
would
phony
say,
to
I
them.
would say, yeah, like that was like going through your spiritual journey. That was for me. It still is, but it's a lonely road. It's a lonely
It is.
road because spirituality,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not something that everybody could connect to, because your spirituality is who you are. Everybody ain't built how
Exactly.
you are. Everybody ain't made and
Exactly.
created like you are. So everybody created comes with a new mind, and we take the story of Jesus so important. That's why he was so important, because when he came in this world, he came with a new mind, and he looked at the world. He wasn't judging them. He had love for the world, but he said,
Facts.
"What you all are doing, I don't agree with," because he came in this world with a new mind. So the road of spirituality is a lonely road, and yeah, I believe once you kind of start going on it, it tugs you away from the things that you're used to. It tugs you away from the things that you're used to doing, and the things that you used to talk about. That's why I want to even because this is just not just spirituality, but we learn this in religion. And I want to make this point because I heard you say this earlier, Imani, how everything coincides with each other. It is, and I believe it's very divisive to actually set religions and separate people, and I believe that's really what it does. Different religions separate different people. So when I say, if I come to you and I said I grew up Christian, and you come to me and you say you grew up Muslim and things of that such, it might be a conflict of interest, because you think you see something different than I see, and I feel like I see something different than what you see, but we all looking at the same shit. We all
We
looking at
are
the
And
same thing. But
facts
just in different cultures,
but
though.
but I
in
believe that
different cultures, yeah.
I believe that's what happens once you transition out of the religion way of thinking and transitioning your way of spirituality, because that's what we all inclined. That's what we all involved in. That's the only real thing about you. Religion ain't real. Spirituality is the only thing that's real about you.
and
That's
that
a fact.
and that goes back, that dates back to 10,000 50,000 BC, because lately I've been studying a lot of our ancient civilizations, and not just things like the Anunnaki or those tribes out in China and Hindu that you can find in Egypt. I can't think of the name now, but a lot of those people, the reason they would be connected and end up, so let me just backtrack, right? So people say that the Bible was made from the tablets, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Sumerian tablets. Now everything was made. I feel like everything, like as far as the Bible go, it's kind of, you know how people say, okay, it's a fable.
Mm-hmm.
So you're supposed to get lessons and learn lessons from it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're
Allegory.
supposed to learn lessons from it, and understand what it is, why don't you look at Jesus in the same light? I feel like if he's a representation of us, he is us. I am
Hmm.
him.
The
You get what
story
I'm
of Jesus
saying?
Yeah,
is the story
And
of
that
us.
and that road
it
and
is
that
about us.
road
You just
it
got to
is, and
embody
that
that.
road is our road to spirituality, right? Because a lot of reasons why you think of ancient civilizations, even like the Atlantis and the people of Atlantis, the reason why they prospered so much, it wasn't because they were wrapped up in a religion and it was this certain god that they served, although they served multiple gods. You get what I'm saying? But it was more so spirituality practices. It was certain things that they would do to connect back into the universe, connect back with the earth. Is certain shapes and lines and symbols that they would use in order to connect to the higher self, because we really from the stars. You get
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So what they would do is they would do these certain movements or these certain sounds. That's why in church they play the tambourine, or they clapping their hands, or they stomping their feet, or they singing in this melodic tune. It's because that's a part of nature. We're all one. If we're all energy, we're all aligned. So
hmm,
when the act of religion came about, it was to keep us from thinking for ourselves.
yeah,
It was to keep
Mm-hmm.
us from activating. The
Mm-hmm.
reason why people catch the Holy Ghost and catch the Spirit so much in church is because they activating those
the hands,
glands. They
yeah,
activating their
energy.
pineal glands. They using their energy. They shaking, they hollering, they screaming. They're using what was given to them to connect to the God in
That's a
them.
fact.
So now you think that you're getting praise, or the preacher or the pastor is doing something. No, you're connecting to the God in you, but you're so wrapped up behind this religion thing that you're not understanding the
Your
real power
power,
that you
your
possess.
power.
You
Yes,
have this is your power. That's your doing. That's you. That's like the God in you saying, yeah, okay, I feel you shaking me up now. What's up? But the reason why you don't never connect is because you let somebody else turn you on and turn you off. You
yeah.
let somebody else tap you on the shoulder and tell you to sit down. You let somebody else tell you to go in the back. You let somebody else tell you you need to get on the altar.
But what's crazy is that to point this out though is that I've never, and this is nothing against, but I learned back maybe in 2017 that the Bible even mentioned us as being gods over the land. This was in 2017, and then I didn't come into real
Gods of the
connection.
earth, of
He
of
said,
the
"I gave you
land.
dominion and power over
Empower.
this land, y'all, and you are gods over the earth, which means I have the power to create." But if you don't ever
Yeah.
realize that when you give in sometimes we give pastors and bishops too much credit for like what's going on. If you the pastor did a good sermon, no, that was you working up your own energy and reconnecting back to the source.
Let me make
Because
a point.
how
Let me
can
make a
some
point real quick. I would say preachers and pastors. I like y'all speak because I don't want to just leave it off on a negative connotation. They're always going to be needed. I ain't gonna lie. They're going to be needed because I believe we live in a world full of lies.
wholeheartedly?
I
Yeah,
believe we
for
live it.
sure.
Let me make this point. I believe that we live in a world full of lies. The reason why they're needed and the reason why what they do seems so powerful, which it is, I would say as well. I'm not going to debunk the power in what they're doing, but the reason why it sounds so powerful is because when they speak truth, truth is always going to sound powerful in a world full of lies. So they will all.
Exactly.
So what they're doing is necessary, but I would say like the systems in place where it starts pushing people aside, start saying my God is better than your God. That's what I don't agree with. So yeah,
Yeah,
Right, and
I
I
don't
don't
think that
agree
they
with the
always have a.
people.
Yeah, but just to my point is that I said we, like the people, the lay members, give the pastors too much power because you feel like what they're doing is better than who you are. You feel like they the only person that got those downloads. You have those downloads as
That they
well.
got the
That so
answer and
it's
you
not
don't.
debunking them. It's just
Exactly.
that is you
I
have
need to
the
go to my
same
pastor
exact.
and pray for me. Let me go ask my
No, you
pastor to
pray
pray
for
for me. You pray for
yourself because
yourself.
Exactly.
You pray for
and that's
That's
the
yourself.
where
reason
that's
why you
where
pray
I'm
for
at with
yourself
it.
though. You pray for yourself because you the one that knows what's wrong with you. You understand the trauma that you have. They really don't understand and you really don't know how to express that. So you
Now,
like, God,
now
confirm
I would say if you're not inclined to that level just yet, and
facts.
they
You need a
are,
baby, you're a
then you
baby, you're
utilize
a baby
because one
still.
thing that I learned about, like even with your parents, if your parents is more inclined than you are, you use their vision until you're able to open up your eyes and create a vision of your own. So
That's
Exactly.
a fact. That's a
you never just go ahead. I mean, now I do see that system being useful for people who need it, but once you start being more
that's a fact.
inclined to finding out who you are and you figure out the power that's inside, then yes, you could start minimizing the times that you saying, let me go to my pastor and have him pray for me. Oh, let me get
Fact.
people to lay hands on me. I don't believe in that though, but let me get
But
people to lay hands on me and all that stuff. But yeah, that's
it's
what.
Now,
definitely Christ though.
it's two things. Two things. One, I want to speak on two things you mentioned: the laying of the hands, and then the pastor. So, number one is I do feel like church is necessary to help you get in the mind of learning more and believing in that is somewhere something more than what you see. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But then from there, it's to create skeptics. You have to be skeptics. You can't just take something for what it is and say that this is that because that's what you heard or that's what you read. Church creates the most optimism, and church creates pessimists too as well.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to church and you learn these things, it starts to open up things in your mind that you may have forgot from a life before or from a time before that'll have you questioning what you want and what you don't. If I wasn't raised the way I was, if I wasn't raised in the church, if I didn't believe in the church, if I didn't like my pastor, then there's no way that I probably would because this is my destiny, but it will be a lot longer. That is the foundation of where my spirituality began. So that was a necessity. Now, as far as the laying hands, we're healers. So the laying hands, you probably can get some healing from the hands. The problem is the source of energy that you pull from.
That's a
If I
fact.
believe in my whole if I believe in my whole heart that I touch you and your arm is gonna be healed, more than likely your arm will start
Feeling better.
regenerating those cells to start healing because I believe wholeheartedly with every bone and structure in my body that I can do that. So
That's
Mm-hmm.
a
that's why
fact.
you have people who are able to lay hands. It's so much energy. You put your hands like this and be going in a circle or in a ball to feel the energy. You can feel the
Yes.
energy in your hands. You can feel the energy from this palm to this palm. So it is power
Kinetic
in the
energy.
hands, but
It's
it's the
fact.
power inside of you. So not only it doesn't take me just saying I touch you now you heal, but now you have to also believe that my touch
Mm.
is healing to you,
That's a
or it
fact.
won't be.
It's the
You get what I'm saying?
and the thing about that, that's actually the powerful thing that you talk about. The you just mentioned that, but it's not the laying of the hands. It's the
It's
belief.
the
It's what
thought.
you believe.
Exactly.
That's why they say in the
It's the
Bible, "What a man
exactly.
thinketh, so is
It's
he."
the
Because
soul.
whatever you believe in your
So
mind,
is he.
that's whatever's
Yeah.
gonna come to pass. And as long as
That's
you
a
keep
fact.
that
Yeah.
thought on, as long as you keep that thought on your mind throughout your day, you're gonna start giving birth to that thought because it's on your mind on a day-to-day basis. I believe
Yeah.
myself to be a
Yes.
powerful being, so every time I talk, I'm gonna say I feel like I'm gonna say some powerful things because I
Yup.
believe myself to be a powerful being. It's
That's
all
a
about
fact. And
belief.
Yeah.
also, so if you say the Bible says so a man thinketh, so also if you take it in layman's term, people also say that where your focus goes, the energy flows. It flows to that thought. That blood thought, it goes to that thought because guess what? Now you work in your mind, right? And so that's the
Mhm.
reason why even in the Bible it says cast your net on your right side. Once your back
Mm.
is against the wall and you're trying to actually figure something out, guess what? Now thoughts go to your creative side of your brain, your right side, your
Mm.
creativity instead of your logic. Because sometimes your logic could be the devil because you like, I don't have enough money to do that. I don't got enough this to do that. But if you once you
Mhm.
like, look, I'm done, you allow the universe to do whatever it does and give you those downloads, you like, I could do that. I could be creative. It that's the thing, like it's so a man think is you could think so hard and you like so it is so. It's done. And once it's done, you get out of your lower vibrational self and just thinking you're an animal. You can go into your spiritual realm, you go into your higher self, you go into your thoughts, your creativity. We all have creativity.
And
I'll,
then we not only do we have, I'm sorry, but listen, not only do we have creativity, but what just blows me is that people think they don't have the power to create their reality. People don't think they have the power to manifest the lifestyle they want when we literally sit up and lay and create whole human beings. And not just as a woman, but a man too. Without a man, I mean, a woman can still create. That's another story for another day.
Man.
we had
But
that. We
because
had that.
I
We had
yeah
that
we
whole
did, and
argument.
that's for
I
another
was gonna say
that's
we
for
had that whole
another
argument in Atlanta.
that's for another Monday thought. So we're going to stick to the man and the woman for right now.
Mhm.
A man literally carries a bunch of 100,000
We
sperm
carry life
cells,
every day.
That's a
and
fact.
women carry a child. So the fact that a man and a woman can mate and create a whole human being that has their own soul and push out and become a soul on this earth, how do you think if you have the power to create another human being, why you don't have the power to create your reality?
That's a fact.
Hold on. That's a
I love
fact.
that thought. I love that thought because I be saying all the time like when like I speak on a point like when I speak to like men when it comes down to actually being disciplined with their sexual energy because I love that thought because that's important. Like if we always releasing our energy all the time, then we don't have any energy to create and actually putting that thought of creating. But the point that I was just making, men carry life every single day. There's not a day that we wake up that we don't have the power within us to create a physical being. So
Right.
if you think about the power in that and you always set because it is systems in place that cater to that lower energy, that lower vibration that makes you want to release that energy. But if you become more disciplined, imagine what you could do in your life if you hold on to that energy and you don't release it. Yes, it's music out here. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I was just having a thought this morning. When a Megan Thee Stallion song come on and she talking about how big her ass is and how she could make it, bro. As a man who's attracted to women, that thought is gonna be on my mind, and now I'm trying to think how to create that. Now, if I'm not a mature man, I'm gonna allow that energy to just go anywhere and not think about where I'm releasing that egg or my energy off to or anything. Like I'm just willing to let it go everywhere. But if you imagine what you could do if you actually hold on to it, your
I think
mind will
that's
become stronger,
powerful.
your body will become stronger, you as a spirit
And your
will become
spirituality,
stronger.
yeah. Your
Yeah,
spirituality
it's your
become
spirit because
stronger.
it's mind over matter. We have two brains, y'all. We have a brain that thinks of beyond, and we have
Logic,
a brain
yeah,
that thinks right now. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So that's just like if you working out, you be like, okay, you pushing it, you're gonna be sore tomorrow. You'll be like, damn, I need to listen and just stop. But then you got that other brain and be like, hell no, you ain't no punk. Keep going. You got this,
that's for
keep going.
real.
And the moment that you listen to that second brain, that's the moment that you realize you got power over your own life, you got power over your decisions. We get so caught up in the fucking circumstances of this life, the circumstances that life gives us, that we don't understand that we can create the
Both.
reality.
And that's what we get caught up
We
at.
understand. Yeah.
We get caught up in the idea that just creating is something positive. You can create something negative as well. Every day we create. It don't matter if it's negative or
Yeah.
positive. So I think that y'all took the God aspect of it, but we create negativity all the time. You talking about where
All the
your
time.
focus goes. So like if you see something negative, it's because you're entertaining that. Like everything that you do every day is literally for a better tomorrow or worse tomorrow. Like it's whatever you put your energy into. So it's whatever you create every day, and that could be life or that could be death. And like you said, like it's perspective though, because who's to say if it's right or wrong?
Yeah, that's just like somebody wake up in the morning, they fall out of bed, right? They like, fuck. So then they getting dressed, they run, they got their clothes on, they got all their stuff, they leave, they get about 10 minutes down the road, they realize they left their wallet at home. They get home, they like, oh my God, today is a shitty ass day. Let me go ahead and make me some coffee and hurry up and get back to work. I'm already late. So now they on their way back on the road, on their way to work, they got the coffee, they drinking their coffee, they spill their coffee all over their clothes. So now they almost at work, but they can't be late no more because they meeting coming up. So now they got to go into work with a dirty ass shirt. So the point is that one thought of today is going to be a fucked up day.
Mm-hmm.
You
Your day
kept
ended up being
creating
pretty fucked up.
Yep.
Because
because of
that's the
thoughts.
thing. Instead of saying, you know what, this is okay, I'm still gonna have a good day. You could have been walking into a meeting and ended up getting a promotion or something, or you could have walked in a meeting and nothing that happened, but you sowing the seed for something better to happen later. But instead, the seed of today is a shitty and fucked up day, and that's the time that you operate. That's the wave, the energy
Life
field
and
that you
death.
operate
Life
on.
and death. Life
Then
and death
that's
lies.
that's what's gonna put out. And now people say, "Oh, but you can't predict that. You can't predict." But listen, this is the thing. We all have, like you said, Jhermani. We all have negative thoughts and we all have positive thoughts. Think of it like two energy fields. So the negative thought is down here and the positive thought is down here.
That you
If you
channel
have a
into.
negative thought, if you have a negative thought but you don't up your vibration to still think positively, your whole day you're gonna be on that negative wave. So the shit that's manifesting in your life is on the same wave pattern that you had. Now some days you just gonna have a fucked up day, but it's still all about your mentality and all about your perspective to know that today is for, like Glorilla song, today may be fucked up, but that's why I love tomorrow. Because that don't
Mm-hmm.
mean
Yeah,
tomorrow
it's
gonna be like that. Sometimes you just need to reset. Sometimes you just need to sit back and be like, okay, maybe stuff went wrong today, because if some would have went right, I would have did good, got good, and went out, and then something fucked up would have happened. So you got to just change your perspective. Now, if you have a negative thought and still decide to go positive, the negative's still right here, but you're still going towards the positivity, even though, right? So now you're setting the stage. Now you're setting up for somebody in higher places, in rooms that you're not in, to just be thinking of you and bring your name up to somebody that can help get you some more money, or can get you an opportunity, or can do something for you, or y'all can combine on a part.
That positive and negative thought. Like when I Michelle Obama said, like she always says, when they go low, we go high, and that's a powerful statement. Based
Exactly.
upon that's what you're saying, but that's a powerful statement because when it comes down to negative and positive, if you negative and a positive thought cannot live in the same mind, you could only have one thought at once. You could only have, like, you have one brain, so you could only think of one thing at once. So if you're thinking of something negative and that's where your focus is, then that's where negative exists. But if you feel wrong but you create a positive thought, then that negativity really goes away, because negative and positive cannot live in the same house. It will never. Like, just like
Yeah.
light and dark can never, like, live in the same house. If you see light, then that means darkness is gone. But if you see darkness, that means the light is gone. Look at
But
the
you also
sunrise and
can't
the
have
sunset.
one or the other.
What you say?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's what you want to
You
channel
also
into.
can't have one or the other.
Without the
You
other.
can't
You
just
can't play in the
you
middle of
can't
the
have.
field. It don't exist. You can't play in the middle
It's
of the
you gotta
field.
you gotta pick one. That's all that is because it's like it's what you channel into. That's just like, look, here go the example, right? You watch a TV, you got
Mhm.
Comcast cable, you got Xfinity, you got Dish, whatever you got. Just imagine that you got
Mhm.
some type of cable. Channel 7 on, you could be watching Disney. It's all playing. It's all in the same thing. It's all on. It all got a program going on at 7 o'clock. It's what you channel into. It's like some playing on the radio. You listening to jazz or you listening to 93 to B. What you listening to is what you
Yep.
channel into, but the chaos is always gonna be there. You just gotta pick a field. You can't play both
Exactly.
sides, right? But you have to understand that both entities do exist. Okay,
Mhm.
I could channel into the negative day because I used to be like this all the time because I have to like bring it back to myself. When you said something, money, it made me think. A lot of times the reason why I couldn't be who I want to be because I'm like, okay,
You breaking up, Jhermani.
She probably got a call like I did.
I got a question for y'all though.
Mhm.
I don't know if she gonna cut back in talking, but I had a question. So when we came up with the topic about the topic about spirituality and our journey on spirituality, I want to know from y'all though, what was the positive from when you all kind of got intertwined with spirituality, and what is the
Mhm.
negative like that you would, if you think of a negative, what would be the negative part of that?
So with me, the journey to being open to spirituality is hard. So it was hard for me,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak, because what really jumpstarted me after 2020 and I really started learning, it took a hard death. Someone real close to me passed away, and that forced me to figure out how to get out of the slump that I was in. So with that, that meant, okay, I need to get deeper into myself and figure out who I am, what I like to do, and how I like to operate, and how I like to move without somebody around or needing that validation from someone else. So it was hard, and it's still a lonely road because as I found out that in order for me to grow and get higher, I can't keep doing the same shit. I can't keep going to hood parties. I can't keep turning up. I can't keep getting drunk and high all the time. I'm not getting no work done. I can't just be out here with y'all because y'all operating on the vibration that I'm trying to get away from. And so in that sense, that's where I would say the negative
Mm-hmm.
or the lonely side came. But then through that separation is when I found myself. So I know how to have fun by
I
myself.
think Jhermani
I know
back
how to
in. I
sit
think
up.
she's trying to get back in.
Let me see. She got to request me, Jhermani, if you in, cause I don't see her. I
y'all,
just re
Finish. Finish what you were
the
saying.
devil don't play fair. The devil don't play fair. The devil don't play fair. Cause
But
I had some good knowledge coming.
I'm free.
look, so you can hop on this question next. I'm finna re-explain, but basically, I was saying, Jay, that the negative and the lonely road of the journey, it was lonely in the beginning, but now it's more powerful because I learned to be more comfortable in myself. I learned to be comfortable in my own skin. I know how to be alone with myself and my thoughts. I know how to get my thoughts out on paper. I know how to turn my thoughts from a thoughts to something in real life that's tangible.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to create more. So it played a positive role on the left side and the right side of my brain because it helped me to be better prioritizing, taking care of business, handling stuff more because I don't have all those negative and outside forces. Jhermani, the question that he asked us was, what was like the negatives and the positives of your spiritual journey? I think that's the question.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just feeling set aside and different, like misunderstood for sure in certain ways. Like, I also believe that once I came more in contact with myself in the beginning,
Mhm.
I'm becoming very better with this. But at first, I used to be judgmental of things, like want to just take it back, like you know what I'm saying, you doing this, but because that was kind of like my God complex, you know what I'm saying. Once you come in the
Mhm.
realization of something as you know, that you feel is righteous, you know, I wouldn't say outright. I'm not the type of person that's gonna outright say something to somebody, but I'll look and it be out of judgment. Like I didn't just come out of place of blindness, right? So that was difficult for me because at first I wasn't judging a lot of things. Sometimes, like I told you, like in the beginning of my youth, I wanted to be a part of the crowd. But I mean, I knew I was never supposed to be a part of the crowd, but me actually stepping aside and being my own individual, I would judge. Now I'm like, oh, I see why they're fitting, you know, just judging. So that, and then also because I felt set aside, I felt different. So, but now I'm understanding how to operate in that differentness now. And I'm understanding how to play in rooms. I'm understanding how to encourage people. I believe that that
Yeah.
was the main reason of seeing Granny and Granddaddy, like, and how they operated around people. Because now that comes to me is granting people grace and mercy, because now I understand that I needed mercy and I needed grace. So like that's the love for it now, is because now I feel for everyone's situation. I don't just say like, yeah, that's they business. You know, that's what I kind of look back and be like, okay, they let their negative forces take hold of them. I had negative forces take over me at multiple times in my life, and God granted me peace, mercy, serenity, so I could speak to my people. And that's what the love of even seeing Granny, like watching people fall down and still giving them their shirt, allowing them to sleep in the room. And it's crazy because I had this point I was thinking this morning. I'm like, we really set ourselves differently besides Jesus and ourselves. When I watched my grandmother had scraps of food and make a lot of food for the church. Had barely had nothing and made soup, or had sweet potato pies for everybody. She made it stretch, and it literally says in the Bible how Jesus, they only had a few fish, and they literally fed a multitude of people. I watched my grandmother do that. We have those same powers, right? So for me, that's the beauty of it, is that I got to live in my double mind, but I get to pick a side. I get to pick
Yeah.
what side I'm on. You know,
Hmm.
I know I'm not blind no more, so I get to see. So that's the positive. But in the beginning, when I first started my transition, I was judgmental. But everything is necessary as well, because it shows you how to observe and where you don't want to be for the most part. Like I can't be
Yeah.
around y'all all the time. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all, but the thing is that when words come out of our mouth, it's the God spell, not the gospel,
Yeah.
but the God spell. So if I'm around hell spell, and you planted that in my mind, because thoughts travel, y'all. Thoughts don't die off. Like Martin Luther King's dream
Creates
didn't
energy.
die. Yeah, like
Hmm.
the Constitution didn't just die. We still living under the Constitution. Those are words. That's a God spell or hell spell. So it's like whatever you up govern up under, that's real. So sometimes you gotta be set aside. But that's the judgment that comes first. But then it gives you some type of, what's the word, like discernment of spirit. I love y'all, but
Hmm.
that's not something I can intertwine with right now. That's not what my
Exactly.
spirit is. So it's just beauty in all of it. It's beauty in all of it. There ain't no right or wrong. It's all
I would
in
say
its divine purpose and plan.
I would say for me on my journey, like the positive for it was I found out who I was, and I was actually enlightened on the power that I had inside. That was new for me,
Hmm.
and that was new for me. And yeah, really piggybacking off what all y'all said, there was a lot of positive stuff when it came down to spirituality, and I agree. But the negative connotation for me was and I will also add the positive side was that I seen everything. Instead of just seeing the physical, I seen what was underneath. The negative side was that I seen everything and I did, instead of just seeing the physical, I seen what was actually underneath. So and what I mean by that was like even though like have y'all ever seen something y'all was like, man, I wish I ain't seen that type stuff. That's how it
Yeah.
was when it first came off with spirituality for me, because it was like it was a scary journey because I opened my eyes and I was seeing things that I didn't see before. So that was kind of scary for me. But the only thing that how fear comes is, like I said earlier, like fear only is what you don't understand. And as I've been going down my spiritual journey, I started understanding more and more. Now I ain't gonna sit here and say I still don't come across information that make me fearful, but I understand once I
Hmm.
start really start trying, or once I get connected to it or I have an idea of it, and once you start understanding it, it's like you looking the devil in his eyes. Like you will always fear the devil if you don't really understand who the devil truly is. But what y'all were just saying earlier, but God and the devil exist in the same house. You just got to figure out what your devil is. Now, I'm not fearful of my devil anymore because I know what my devils are. And I heard someone say you have to build systems in place that if you know these things exist, now you have to build systems in place so it doesn't overcome you. Because we all, in this physical realm, we all fall victim to physical things, and that's negative energy that people have, and that's gonna rub off on you, like Jhermani was speaking upon, when it comes down to thoughts, because our thoughts become energy, and we act based upon that energy in a room. It's actually an idea that the ancient ancestors believe in, talking about an egregor, and that's when they thought that collective conscious was so strong that it creates an unseen energy of its own, and that's actually something that we don't really understand. Jhermani broke this down when I actually mentioned this to her before, but she broke it down in the Bible where when they was like, yeah, that actually makes sense when you said that, because they speak upon that in the Bible. She broke it down so beautifully. She said in the Bible they were saying how when 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. Who is that? What is that? That's an unseen energy, but we don't understand these things. So when I said the good and the negative part of my spiritual journey was that I seen things, I really mean that. Like I seen everything now. I seen what was underneath than just the spiritual, just the physical side. I know in the introduction I was saying how we all get caught into the physical aspect of who we are, which is cool. But I want people to understand that shit ain't real. Because when we leave this body, I'm neither black or am I neither a male. I'm just energy. And once we understand these things about me, or once I understood that thing about myself, I said in a video before, study your soul, become a psychologist of your soul, because when you understand your soul, you understand what's going on in the souls around you. Y'all think y'all different, but y'all going through the same thing, bro. Y'all literally going through the same thing each and every day. We ain't taught. I mean, we have our own
We playing the same game. We just on
Yeah,
different
and
rounds.
that's the reason why we get just too caught up on egos, right? Like, and how we feel about certain things, like, or somebody be like, you don't know how I feel. Well, honestly, truly, hurt don't hurt any different. Just because you thought you lost your mom and I lost my dog, energy is energy. You feel energy, you see energy. That thing that you see, that's energy.
We have
All
an
that within our bodies.
we have an individual as or experience in life, but we go through the same thing when it comes down to emotions. Your emotions ain't different than my emotions.
Different
My
than my
emotions ain't
emotions.
different than your emotions. We
It's
all
just like how we internalize our emotions are just differently, but it still feels the same. Like, yo, hurt, you hurt, bro. Like,
yep.
I hurt you, you hurt me. We all hurt. You bleed like I bleed. You know what I'm saying? You happy like I happy.
Yep.
When you smile, like when happiness, you see it on your face. Your face bright up. Like, that's just the thing, is because we all made up the same thing. And I had a real thought yesterday. I'm like, I was thinking, like, we're made up. We have a soul. I mean, you remember I was telling you this, John? Like, we have a solar complex. Same things as made up of the sun, the moon, the stars. They show this. Also, we're made of 70 to 90% of water. We got gold in us, we got copper in us, right? So, and that's all of forces that's here on this earth. But but it has to come from somewhere. So we have all of those makings of us. So we gonna have.
We literally come. I mean, it's just, well, I know that we grew up in church, and our Uncle Odell used to always say, I'm what he say, I'm in here, but I'm not from here. I agree with that, and also to that same point as well.
In this world,
We have to understand, our physical beings actually come from this world. So the things that's out in this universe, I believe this universe is magical. And I believe that everything that's in this universe is inside of me too. I'm magical. I'm a magical being. But I was gonna say, to this complex of spirituality, a lot of the stuff that I'm actually getting into now and actually wrapping my mind around now, a couple of years ago, I was scared of that because I didn't understand it. And based upon the teachings that I had, it was just something that I didn't connect to at the time. But now that I'm actually understanding things that's in the world, I'm starting to realize that we are magical. We just have to tap into our magic, spirituality and things as well. I was just looking at the video of Dapper Dan, and he was talking about the symbols and the importance of how symbols are created and how it actually creates an energy in the world. And that's because the world is based upon symbols and things. That's how the world was created. Like, we read words, but read symbols, because that's what's really going on. Once you start reading these symbols, you'll start seeing the energy that's being forced on you, and you acting upon it, and you really don't understand what's happening. We
You
think
don't
we have all.
understand it.
Sometimes we think that we have all the control within us, and we do once you become spiritually inclined. But if you're not spiritually inclined, you actually fall victim to the symbols that's in place, not really realizing what's going on in your head, because these symbols force you to think away. When you ride past the sign of McDonald's, what do you think about? Just a quick question for both of y'all, and I'm finna answer it real quick.
Food.
You think about food. Yeah, facts. Like, but on a sign, it's yellow
And it's red.
and it's red. These are things that alert your mind. But when you first ride past McDonald's, one thing that I think about is the fries. You know why?
I was just
Because
thinking that
because
fries,
in
man.
the sign, it's literally yellow and it's a fry. So you think about their fries. So when you drive
Or
past
the red
McDonald's, you
means
like,
hunger.
oh, I want some of them salty fries they got. I'm finna feed
Right.
myself. And then also, now that they got you there, they not only finna upcharge you. I mean, they not finna just sell you on them fries. They finna upsell you on that Big Mac, on that burger, on everything else they got, because
On nuggets.
it's a energy that they created within that symbol that made you come.
And also we have to understand it's the symbol, right? But then also we have to put a play on colors. Colors are very magical. Like red
I
means
think
something. It makes you aggressive. It makes you hungry. McDonald's is not the only restaurant that actually use red. Chipotle got red. Most the restaurants, Arby's got red. Most of it
Burger
is red
King,
because it
yeah.
makes you aggressive. It
It's
makes you
color theory.
hungry. It's color
And
theory,
you
and so
learn about that
everything
in
works
school too.
together. For everything working together for its good and for its evil. Like, we got to put that in there because it says that everything works together for its good. That's what the Bible say. But everything works together. That egregore, that egregore that you were saying, like
Igor.
for its good. And if you have good, you have
Egregore.
evil too, because egregore. So you have that for evil, and you that have that for good as well. Because if we believe in the law of polarity, you have to understand that people come together for negative as well. That's just life.
Yeah. I just want to say that this has been a great build between us, and I think that we should do this again next week, and we should really talk on one of the topics that we should discuss is the magic that we hold and the magic that's within the universe, and how we can better harness it. People need it, and my phone about to die, but
Hey,
even
if your
outside of
phone
that,
ain't finna die, Instagram finna cut off on us in a second. I think they got like an hour time frame.
They do
for
got
us,
an
yeah, so it's like, okay, we almost at that hour, so we're gonna just go
But
ahead
peace
and
to
end
the
this.
gods. Peace to the
Peace to
No
the
gods.
facts.
And,
Peace
gods,
to the guys
okay?
for sure.
and love, because guess what? We literally just spread it the God spell. This is the God spell of love. No death on
Exactly.
this phone. Just understanding what life is supposed to be. And I can't wait to talk about the magic powers that we got to be, if that's next week, because we got a lot of
Yes,
I would just end it.
next Monday. So if we probably gonna end up talking all those other days, y'all. But if you catching this on the replay or you catching it live, just know every Monday we gonna be doing this.
And I just want to leave it off on here as well. Like, if you're also like on a journey of spirituality and you want to come into like your spiritual self as well, one thing that I will always say is, yeah, like listen to people, but always be seeking knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's what it is, period. And when it comes down to life,
Yeah.
always be seeking knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because once you get in contact with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, that's equated to truth.
That's
So once you
so
get equated to
exciting.
truth, your spirit hears, because that's the only thing that's
Anybody
real
else
about you.
start hearing that NDRE song in their head, or is it just me?
Uh,
Faith, courage, and
no
I
facts.
thought
wisdom.
about that song too. It's inside of me. And then she said, "You know the truth by the way it feels." That stuff hits.
Facts.
So NDRE
Exactly.
is that thing. Y'all gotta listen
Yes.
to, before we go. Last thought. NDRE. I meant to sing y'all the song, but y'all know that she said God in me, and she literally said we are made up for the stars and the moon. Bro, I'm gonna re-sing y'all the song because
Send
we'll
me
sing
the
that stuff
song,
as a
cause
kid, but it hit heavier once you become awareness and self. You're like,
I listen
whoa.
to so much NDRE, but I really want to go back and listen. So yeah, send me that song so I can re-listen. But I just want to end it like you said. I love y'all. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and wealth with us on this platform, bringing your people here, bringing my people here, and I hope that we can continue this for weeks to come.
Peace, family, love.
Oh, peace.
Peace.
Ashe.